All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got to talk about the big announcement that Donald Trump just made on Truth Social. We got to talk about the debt ceiling, and we got to talk about the upcoming Speaker Mike Johnson vote. Democrats are already in order to vote against him. Right now, it looks like Thomas Massie and other Republicans don't want him as Speaker. I beg to question that because that is going to put Trump certification in an even tougher spot than it was before. But we got to talk about Trump's announcement about the debt ceiling and what Speaker McCarthy did before. And he's taking some shots here at Speaker Mike Johnson. Now, I told you guys before, who should the Speaker of the House be? Who's going to get approved? And how long would it take? Because, ladies and gentlemen, all this stuff needs to happen before. All this stuff needs to happen before January 20th. So we got a lot of things going on. As soon as this new year starts, guys, it's going to be crazy. It's going to get wild. So here we go. We got some trolls in the comments. Don't worry about that. Make sure to smash the like button, ladies and gentlemen. I got a doozy for you guys. What's going on, guys? Let me know where you guys are watching from. We're not going to be talking about the H-1B visas. We're not going to be talking about Elon Musk. We're going to be talking about this prediction that Trump makes about the markets, about the debt ceiling, and about 1929 crash that basically is molding up here. And he's also claiming that Democrats don't really care if a crash or depression happens, because as long as it happens under Donald J. Trump, that's why he is calling on everybody to get ready for what's coming in 2025 and what the GOP needs to do, what Speaker Mike Johnson needs to do. Because, ladies and gentlemen, everything has been set up here for Donald J. Trump to fail. Donald J. Trump. So a lot of people in the comments are saying Byron Donald should be Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get to that. I promise you. Here we go. So Donald Trump goes on and breaks the internet again. Yeah, he's been breaking the internet a lot. A lot of people have been waiting for him to speak. So here he is speaking about the debt ceiling. So he says the extension of the debt ceiling by a previous Speaker of the House, speaking of Kevin McCarthy, a good man and a friend of mine, from his past September of the Biden administration to June of the Trump administration will go down as one of the most dumbest political decisions made in years, right? There was no reason to do it. Nothing was gained, and we got nothing for it. A major reason why speakership was lost in the first place. It was Biden's problem, not ours. Now it becomes ours because of what Speaker McCarthy did. I call it the 1929. 1929, if you guys don't know about that, that's the Great Depression where everything crashed. So he's calling it 1929 because of the Democrats. They don't care what our country may be forced into. So he's basically saying we're going to be forced into very tough spot. In fact, they would rather depression as long as it hurts the Republican Party. The Democrats must be forced to take a vote on this treacherous issue now during the Biden administration and not in June during Trump's administration. They should be blamed for this potential disaster, not the Republicans. Again, the table has been set. We had Ukraine, we have Russia, we got Taiwan and China. We have so much friction happening, so much rumors of wars and all these things happening. Again, a lot of people are expecting a huge bull market in crypto because of the decisions that the government keeps on making. But what Trump is saying here is they're going to blame us for this crash that's coming. That's why we must act on this now. So that is pretty crazy. But here is Donald J. Trump again. Here's a video I want to show you guys. And thank you so much for your donation. I appreciate you guys. Make sure to smash the like button. We're here almost at the new year. We got a lot of things brewing up here. Thank you so much for what you do. Thank you so much for the donation. All right, here we go.
We have an economy that's incredible. We have an economy that's so fragile. And the only reason it's running now is it's running off the fumes of what we did, what the Trump administration. It's just running off the fumes. And when there's a crash, I hope it's going to be during this next 12 months, because I don't want to be Herbert Hoover. The one president, I just don't want to be Herbert Hoover. But what they've done is incredible. What they're doing with all of this money, the trillions and trillions of dollars of waste.
So basically what Trump is warning people of there is that all of this, all the bad, trillions of dollars, the debt ceiling, the vote that Kevin McCarthy was terrible, and one of the main reasons he was voted out is because it's all going to pretty much land on Trump's lap. And Trump's not going to be able to have a successful, he's not going to have a successful run if there's any economic crash that's brewing up right now. So that's what Trump was warning of. And again, here we have a huge announcement. Representative Thomas Massey just announced he will be voting against Mike Johnson in January for the speaker selection, speaker election. Now that's coming up. I think this Friday coming up. Speaker Mike Johnson faces a vote again. He's frustrated by the CR, the continued resolution. Representative Paul Gosar has come out and said that he will no longer commit to voting for Speaker Mike Johnson. Speaker Mike Johnson is failing hard. Yeah, the debt ceiling is a moving target. It is. All right, so here is Mike Lawler warning Republicans to not. So again, you got so much friction in the Republican Party, the GOP. Here's Mike Lawler. Basically, he's a representative from New York, if I'm not mistaken. Republican warning Republicans not to vote against Speaker Mike Johnson and keep Speaker Mike Johnson in the House. Now, is Speaker Mike Johnson trustworthy? I don't think so. Speaker Mike Johnson needs to go. Let's bring in Representative Byron Donalds. Let's bring in somebody that's actually going to do a great job and not fold to the Democrats and this bipartisan crash that's going on right now, especially when you saw the CR vote and what it had in it. But here we go. Let's take a listen to Mike Lawler and what he has to say.
Let's start right there with Mike Johnson. Does he get reelected Speaker of the House? Should he be?
Yes and yes. The fact is that Mike Johnson inherited a disaster when Matt Gaetz and several of my colleagues teamed up with 208 Democrats to remove Kevin McCarthy, which will go down as the single stupidest thing I've ever seen in politics. With that said, removing Mike Johnson would equally be as stupid. The fact is that these folks are playing with fire. And if they think they're somehow going to get a more conservative speaker, they're kidding themselves. Mike Johnson is arguably the most conservative speaker that's ever been elected to the office.
Is that true? Is he the most conservative speaker that's ever been elected to the office?
He's done a great job keeping the conference unified, getting major things off the plate, and ultimately keeping the majority, which frankly, despite the best efforts of some of these same people that are now calling for Johnson's removal, we held on to the House because of seats like mine. And I'll be very clear, as I was during the Kevin McCarthy fight, I'm not going to bend to their will. So if they think somehow that they are going to end up in a stronger position by removing Mike Johnson, they're not. I think the bottom line here is this. Donald Trump has been given a mandate to govern. He's been given majorities in the Senate and the House. And we have a lot of work to do on behalf of the American people with respect to the economy, with respect to the border, with respect to energy policy, and the foreign affairs disaster that has been left on Donald Trump's doorstep by Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. We can't get anything done unless we have a speaker, including certifying President Trump's election on January 6th. So to waste time over a nonsensical...
Okay, so here we go. This is what's about to happen. All right, so January 6th is Trump's certification. So Jan 6 falls. What day does that fall on? When is the speaker vote? So speaker vote is supposed to be taking place next Friday, this Friday coming up. So the speaker vote will be taking place this week ahead, which will be before January 6th, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody help me out here. Let me bring up a calendar. Calendar of 2025. Let's go to calendar of 2025. Why are they selling me calendars here? All right, so we go to calendar 2025. Friday will be the 3rd. So if we don't have a speaker by the 3rd, what will happen on the 6th will be a very troubling sight for Donald J. Trump. So that's next Monday. So when you look at, we're looking at here, And that's what Mike Lawler is talking about. Mike Lawler is saying we're playing with fire because if we don't have a speaker by the time Trump needs to be certified, well, boy, oh boy, is that uncharted territory. Let's take a listen.
Intramural food fight is a joke. And I think my colleagues, if they didn't learn anything from the 118th Congress, it should be that we absolutely do not need a fight over the speakership.
I mean, by my math, he can't afford to lose more than a single vote. And we already have one of your colleagues, Massey, saying he's not going to vote for him. You really think he's going to line up every single House?
And I'm hearing that Marjorie Taylor Greene, MTG, I heard she's going to vote against him as well. So we have two already from Speaker Mike Johnson that they're going to vote against. So we already know how these speaker votes go, ladies and gentlemen. Speaker votes. Let me just go to speaker votes here. Let's see. Yeah, she says that she will vote against. Yeah, so yeah, we're in uncharted territory, MTG. So again, what would it look like? Yeah, Congress is very corrupt, but right now we got the speakership vote on the 3rd, Trump certification on the 6th, Trump also coming out and basically making it very clear that this debt ceiling situation is getting pretty out of hand. If you look at Janet Yellen, Treasury Department will need to take, says that Treasury Department will need to take extraordinary measures to avoid debt ceiling next month. Let's see right here real quick. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen warned congressional leaders Friday that the federal government will hit its debt limit as early as January 14th unless Congress takes action or her department implements extraordinary measures to avoid default. What are these extraordinary measures? Yellen's letter indicates that the looming debt ceiling fight involving Congress and the new administration is likely to take place in the early months of the next year after President-elect Trump failed to get a provision raising or eliminating the debt ceiling tacked on an end-of-year spending bill. Treasury currently expects to reach the new limit between January 14th and January 23rd. Very important dates. Donald Trump will be president by January 20th. Huge problems. At which time it will be necessary for the Treasury to start taking extraordinary measures. Oh my God, my English is so bad today. I respectfully urge Congress to act to protect the full faith and credit of the United States of America. The dates Yellen cited would shift down the line, pushing the deadline further into 2025. The federal government can often operate for months under the extraordinary measures or accounting maneuvers Yellen referenced in her letter. The debt ceiling or total amount of money the government can borrow to meet its fiscal obligation. First of all, this is all a freaking scam. Like, what's our debt ceiling right now? I mean, this is crazy. This is actually insane. This is why so many people are leaving the market. That's why so many people are investing in other things and trying to get their money out before these economic crash. Because what do you think is going to happen if there's an economic crash? Here we go. So, yeah, Trump says one of the dumbest political decisions ever made on. Let's actually go to U.S. debt count, because I know there's a count. There's a count right now. U.S. debt, United States debt. Where are we at right now? Are we at 36 trillion? Yeah, but there's a clock in real time. Let's see where we're at with the U.S. debt. The debt clock. Why can't I see it? 1929, 1933. Let's see. Real quick before I get to your guys' comments here. I'm trying to see the debt. Where's the debt? U.S. total national assets. Why can't I see the debt? What is this? There's a debt clock that we can see. I don't know why we can't see it right now, but it's like it's counting the debt. But I know we're at like $36 trillion in debt. I think it's this. I'm trying to find it so that way we can go. It's 36. $36 trillion. Yeah, my laptop is just. But anyways, you guys get the point of this. Somebody was thinking Vivek Ramaswamy to become Speaker of the House. Guys, this has to get figured out. How long did it take for Speaker Mike Johnson to replace Speaker McCarthy? How long was that vote? That vote was extended. I don't know how many days it took. It was like 2 or 3 days. Yeah, thank you so much for this. We are $36 trillion in debt, going up. So we might, listen. Oh boy, that's just a wild number to look at. It took 15 votes, 3 weeks. Guys, we can't afford that. And that's what we are playing with. We got Representative Thomas Massey, MTG. You know, can they agree on somebody right away to replace Speaker Mike Johnson? Because this friction in the GOP, I told you guys, this thing is getting crazier than we actually think. It's about to get crazier than we can actually imagine. Look, if it was up to me, leave Speaker Mike Johnson alone. Let's just get through the certification on January 6th and just get to Trump being president. That's it. It's just that simple. Or we can choose and agree on a Speaker of the House right away, and we know who's replacing Speaker Mike Johnson. But you know that that's not the way this works. We saw what happened with Speaker McCarthy and how he got pushed out, and then Speaker Mike Johnson came in, but that took about 3 weeks. I'm ready to kick Mike Johnson. Well, Byron Donalds for Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of decisions to be made here, but the Trump 2025 crash is something that Trump is putting out there, and he's basically saying that this was all set up, and the GOP, this is a self-inflicted wound by the GOP. He's speaking of a 1929 style crash, something that we got to take a look at. As a debt ceiling, there has to be a forced vote on this, as Trump said in this Truth Social post. He says the Democrats must be forced to take a vote on this treacherous issue now, during the Biden administration now, and not in June. Because by the time you get to June, as Janet Yellen already said, they're warning that from January 16th to the 23rd, they're going to be forced. Again, she warns of extraordinary measures. What the hell does that even mean? What does that even mean? So, you know, we got some things coming up, brewing up. A lot of people are checked out from politics. They're gonna, what I really think is gonna happen here, and this is why it's very important that this economic style of depression, because we had one in 2008, but that came from CDOs and that came from banks, over leveraging and scamming basically. But this is coming from the actual government, U.S. national debt. Debt ceiling versus what we're borrowing against, asset class, what really backs up the dollar in the first place. These are conversations that a lot of people are going to start. By the time you realize this, it's probably going to be too late. Exactly. How much is internal versus external? That was the housing bubble verse. Now, this economic style crash, everything crashes. Everything. The dollar, everything. Housing market, dollar, banks, everything. We're talking about the dollar crash in the United States of America, just getting, you know what I mean? Like it gets very technical, but this is the types of conversations that we got to be having as a country. We're over here, and I told you guys, there's a lot of, and look, I'll take some fall of it. I'm probably going to continue to talk about it because I think it's an important conversation. But, when we're talking about H-1B visas, MAGA, all these different things. Man, I can't stop coughing, man. Those drones, excuse me. Don't quote me on this. maybe you can quote me on this if you want, but ever since those drones came to the east side, New York, New Jersey, man, I don't know what's going on, but everybody has gotten sick. People have been coughing. I'm not saying somebody said stop smoking. I don't smoke. But I'm not saying that it was the drones that did this. But man, have things in the air have gotten a lot thicker. It's harder to breathe out here. But we do have God. Do I have the coronavirus? Nah, I definitely don't. Well, I will hope I don't. But we're not even speaking any of this into existence. Okay, here we go. So it can happen. Stop Biden from sending 1.2 billion to Ukraine. Look, you guys remember? I was reading this the other day. It was a reminder. I read this from before, and then we'll end it with this. Make sure to smash the like button, ladies and gentlemen, if you can. Why was it the Gettysburg Address? Here we go. Gettysburg Address. That was the speech from Abraham Lincoln. But nah, you know what? I'd rather talk about this. 2% tax. What happened and when it's so crazy, the United States of America's ideology has changed so badly when even the thought of the government doing things that the people disagree with, like the government today, the Tea Party, right? But the government today, when we talk about like taxing us 37%, federal, state tax. Now we know the birth of why taxes were a thing in the first place, because when you look back on it, really how we used to make all our money is what Trump is trying to do now, which is taxing on imports and outports. Basically, it had nothing to do with taxing the American people. I mean, that was always the last option. But now we went from 2%. We went to fighting and cooking motherfuckers. I want to watch my language here. We went to 2%, the government getting out of hand, becoming tyrannical. Oh, yeah, we're going to fight a revolution over this 2% tax against England. The Revolutionary War started over 2% tax against England. We really got to remind Americans what life was like, right? Like, so the import outports. When we talk about tariffs. Really, this was the way and the only way. Taxes on the American people have gotten so out of line, and then the IRS has gotten so out of the IRS. This saying of having to pay. What was it? This famous saying that everybody says all the time is. There's only two things for certain in life: it's death and taxes. That's crazy that people legitimately think that this is the way. Like, oh, there's two things for certain in his lifetime: it's death and taxes. Like, what? That was it. The founders of this country would be they probably roll in their grave every day. Every day that we continue to go higher in the debt. Every day that we continue to, add more taxes on unrealized gains or tax over $600 per transactions or transfer or just these people would legitimately like roll in their graves if they just, if they heard about where we went, right? So 2% tax revolution to there is no revolution. We're just going day by day, just paying the government as much as they want. 40% here, 30% here. The Mega Millions was over $1 billion, over $1.5 billion or whatever. And of course, the IRS gets $600 million just like that. The IRS wins the Mega Millions. The Mega Millions. What else? What other lotteries are there to pick for? Is it Mega Millions? You guys get where I'm going with this. People that play the lottery know, man, it's the Mega Millions, and then there's this other that people play is Mega Millions, and then because I played it before, I ain't gonna lie, man, I played this stuff before. I'm talking about the lotto, but you guys agree where I'm going. Powerball, yeah, Powerball. I remember one time Powerball went up to like 2.5 billion, $3 billion. Man, when whoever won, they had to pay the IRS. So the IRS automatically takes out. I think it depends on how they do it, but the IRS ends up going out. 37% of that money is going straight to the IRS, probably more, half. I think in some cases, I'm really not sure. It depends on if the person wants the money right away, they get taxed more. If the person does incubants, basically like where they take and they spread the money out throughout years, they get a certain amount here, they get a certain amount there. I mean, it's crazy. More than 50%, depending on how they cash out. So the IRS does get 49%. I'm not sure exactly what the IRS does most of the time, but I've seen sometimes some people that have won explaining how the taxes work. Man, every day posting bad news. I think I'm going to unsubscribe. Too much negative energy and talking about negative things happening. He's going to speak it into existence. What have I said that I'm speaking into existence? I speak about everything that's going on today. Number one, none of this stuff is terrible. We're talking about things that are coming up in the news. In fact, we had so many months of winning. Trump won. That was a happy video. Doge, Tulsi Gabbard, the appointments of people. We've had so many happy videos for the last 2 months. Increments. I said incubants. Increments. Excuse my language. We've had literally so many happy videos come, and all of a sudden I'm reporting on the bad things that have been happening, and it's like you don't want to live in reality. Reality is that we are going to be forced. None of this is going to be pretty. I want you guys to get used to this. A revolution is never pretty. What's so silly about that comment? It's like a revolution, a physical revolution, a governmental revolution, a revolution overall in Congress. It's not going to be pretty. Nothing's going to be pretty about this. No, but I think incubants is definitely a word. I'm definitely not tripping about that. Incubus. Oh, hell nah. Man. Oh, hell nah. That's not even a word. That's a terrible word. Yeah, thank you for correcting me on that. Whoa, wait a minute. That's not a good word. It's increments. Incubants is a word, but it's not a good word. But yeah, it's just called realities. Incubus is a bad spirit. Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, but God, Lord, rebuke all evil energy in the name of Jesus Christ. But you can't be in your feelings about stuff like this. This is stuff that is mattering. We had literally Elon Musk and Steve Bannon coming out. Steve Bannon coming out with some encrypted. Yes, that's the word I was. Man, is a male sex demon. Yo, it's increments, not incubants. But Steve Bannon is coming out. I mean, it's not good. Sex demon. Guys, it's time for me to get out. Lord, have mercy on my soul. Have mercy on America, Lord. But that's what's coming up January 6th. But before January 6th, the vote is on Friday. And yeah, we're gonna be keeping track because look, man, it's not looking the best when things like this start to come out. And I get it. If you want good news all the time, and you want to live in a bubble of good news all the time, you can legitimately go to different channels to talk about that. All right, guys, make sure to smash the like button. Let me know what you guys think overall on these topics, this news, this section of this part of the news versus what I was reporting on earlier when it comes to Trump's 1929 style crash that he predicts could be forced to fall on his lap if the GOP does not force the Democrats to vote on that disaster. And increments, not incubus. That is a terrible word. Somebody said, wow, your hands up. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. I need a haircut. Somebody said, deport Elon Musk. You know, somebody said something interesting. Before I get up out of here, I ain't gonna lie, man. Barry Cunningham is a savage for this. He's a savage for this. This is what he said. The title of his live stream was so good. Before I get up out of here, watch what he said. Barry Cunningham said this. He says, this is what he said in his video.
We've got passion.
I don't know if you guys watch Barry Cunningham, but he says this. Trump makes huge update. MAGA Confederates better get used to Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. Man, that is a crazy title. MAGA Confederates better get used to Elon. Listen, man. Unfortunately, when you put it that way, it is what it is. You fucking Confederates better get in line. Oh man. All right, I'll see you guys on the next one. That's wild.